Enjoy this trip. Enjoy this trip. And it is a trip.
Countdown is progressing.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It began as an idyllic weekend outing, but something went wrong. Stranded, alone, or are they?
Man, something really weird is going on around here.
Terry, what is the matter?
Man, that's weird.
He tried to kill me!
Unhinged. The nightmare has begun.
The night of February 5th, 1976, George and Kathleen Lutz and their 3 children fled their home in Amityville, New York, and never returned. For them, the horror was over. Their living nightmare shocked audiences around the world in the Amityville Horror. But before them, another family lived in this house and were caught by the original evil. The Lutzes escaped with their lives, but the previous owners weren't so lucky.
Look at it! Oh, cowards! Heavenly Father, bless our new home and watch over us as we become a part of
For
this.
the Montelli family, it was their dream house until it turned into a nightmare.
Who there? I'm scared.
What was in this house? What evil could drive their son to madness and destroy everything and everyone he loved?
Mommy!
Now, Amityville 2, The Possession. Amityville 2, The Possession.
Next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, you can tune in and watch, watch us talk about these movies, and then you go watch them on your own. And you know how this works. Anyway, welcome back.
We'll have 2 guests next week too, Bill. We're gonna have Joe Zasso and Brian Thomas Norton, who wrote the book, is writing the new book. For God's sake, get out the Amityville Horror at the Movies book. So we'll have some deep Amityville knowledge next week. You will learn a lot about the film.
And of course, we'll be gushing about how it's the best Amityville movie out of all of them.
Oh, it is the best. Maybe I'll even give a rank of the Amityville movies next week.
That's a big list.
It's going to take me hours.
There are many, many Amityville movies, so
Yeah. The first movie is Unhinged. The second movie will be Amityville 2, The Possession, the most Italian movie ever made in the U.S.
Unhinged. A vital experience in horror. Unhinged. And if you've never seen Unhinged, it's definitely of the Amityville 2 is a very classy movie compared to Unhinged, which is kind of low budget, shall we say.
What everybody think about the werewolf in a girl's dormitory? Let us know. So super excited to hear what people thought. I love it. I love it even more after watching it again. This school's got a problem with dogs.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
It's just common experience there to be attacked by a dog or some kind of. Was it supposed to be a wolf or was it just a dog named Wolf?
I think it was a dog named Wolf. If you are a rich man running a school for wayward girls, you have to realize that some of these girls are going to be smart enough to blackmail you. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So
definitely.
maybe just don't fool around.
You're playing with fire.
Yeah. I don't get it, but there you go.
They never heard Aliyah.
No, they never did. I gotta say, the main girl in this movie was very attractive, to say the least. She had a certain almost Barbara Steele eye quality to her. Uh, so I dug that. I also like that the girls were so catty. Where that one teacher showed up and he was like, "Who are you to make fun of the dead? Who are you to gossip of the dead?" Tracy, that's probably why we like this. It was the soap opera nature. Bill and I are drawn to high dramas, so I can definitely see
Sure.
what movies that seem like nothing happens for a long time and there's a lot of drama, a lot of screaming, a lot of emotion. That's what we like.
We want it to be like a Tennessee Williams sort of vibe, except with bloody murder.
Yeah. We want it to be like Andy Milligan, but maybe a little better.
Not
But not
much.
much.
Not
Not
much.
much.
Andy Milligan
No,
is acceptable.
just a little bit. No, I love Andy Milligan.
I love the drama in Andy Milligan movies because it's so ridiculous. You just have to be
Yeah.
absorbed in it.
I love it that it's like, even though Dracula's daughter marries Frankenstein's son, their marriage doesn't work. It's really about the marriage. It isn't about the fact that these
Yeah.
supernatural creatures exist. We don't care about that. We've accepted that. Let's move on. This is a bad marriage.
Guru the Mad Monk. It's the story
Yeah.
isn't about the vampire that's in the cast. The story
Yeah.
is about a corrupt priest. So
Yeah. If you enjoyed, some Mike said that the Italians love their boarding school for girls mysteries. If you enjoy this one, I have a whole bunch more to recommend for you.
Frank brought up an
There's
interesting point. He said that the title lowers your expectations and that the movie's not as cheap as it sounds. That's very
yeah.
true because you do kind of expect an AIP level thing. It's just barely above AIP, and that probably has a lot to do with the dubbing in this movie.
I think the thing that this movie really does have, the camera work is really nice.
Yeah.
And the scenery is really nice too. That it feels like this countryside kind of beat up uh place. Especially with, like, it's on the side of the woods. It's kind of remote.
Yeah.
These girls are like have been taken away and placed into this place to try to figure out their lives. It's either this or a convent. And if they were in a convent, God only, they'd be boiling babies by now.
Yeah. Worshipping Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of the vibe of this movie makes them feel isolated, and they're supposed to be here, like you said. It's the next step away from a convent, so
it's a convent or jail at this point. Like,
yeah,
these are the choices that they have left,
and they're forced to live with a werewolf, a ghoul, if you will, in school.
Also, not a single one of them is unattractive. I don't know if you noticed that. There's like not a chubby one. There's not one that has glasses even. They're all
picturesque and
like,
perfect. Yeah. It's
yeah.
a very special kind of girl to get bad girl to get into this school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a Mamie Van Doren could get into this school.
They preferred girls of certain measurements and apparently certain attitudes, because they were all like, I'm in love with the teacher. I'm going to have an affair with so and so. They were catty, but they were sort of bubble-headed about it too. It was a really kind of like the quality.
Either they were ready to have an affair, or they were ready to have an affair and blackmail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what you don't know which one you're gonna get.
They're rude. I'll come right out and say it.
Even Patricia, our lead, is not a good girl. You know what I mean?
She's not, no, but she's the best girl out of all the bad girls, I guess.
Yeah. Great value, Peter Lorre, David brings up. That's Lucio Pigozzi, who is in so many movies. He shows up nearly all the time, every Italian movie I watch, but I always think of him as Pag from Your Hunter from the Future. He's the old caveman that helps Yor out in those movies. But he was
Mexico
known as the
Peter
Peter Lorre of Italy. That was literally his nickname because he looked a lot like him, and he is in, God, I think 120 or 130 movies. So yeah,
I enjoyed his scene with the switchblade.
yeah,
Dueling
where he's just kind of like
switchblades.
getting out of this bar.
He had
as
done that
quickly as he can.
before. You could tell he had done that before.
Yeah. Yeah. The town too, it feels like they're in this small town that's like these girls are just more trouble than they're worth. Having the school here is seemingly more trouble than it's worth. But a rich guy owns it. What can we do? And he's also sleeping with one of the girls, of course.
They all had their own thing going on. It was like a
Oh,
Jeffrey Epstein kind of thing going on there. They got these
let's
girls
see the flight
isolated.
logs for this school, for
Mhm.
who's come into this school, right? And like dogs are able to find bodies. The best shot I think, Bill, too, is that shot at the end when we're following her from behind and she comes up to the teacher and he turns and he has the face. That scene's pretty rad. Also, the scene where he's tied up and he can't save the girl he's in love with while the dog's attacking her, that was pretty intense too.
It was a little bit inventive anyway. And there was my
Yeah.
favorite shot in the movie is where he appears in that laboratory and first you see his hand come around the wall and then the face comes right behind the hand. It's very
Yeah.
silent movie.
But you know, for the level of effects they have for this, you know, it's not Rick Baker or anything, but it's effective. It works. There's a lot of gory wounds on the women, especially. I love the first girl that gets killed. Her eyes are like,
Yes,
like
frozen in
when she's
fear.
dead. Nobody closed her eyes or anything. They just left her like that, which is pretty wild when you think about it.
Well, the Italians were like anybody else. Like sometimes they did the effects and they looked great. Sometimes they didn't look so great, but they still knew how to carry it off.
Also, like so many movies we've talked about, at no point the parents of these girls, I know they're bad girls, but the parents weren't like, oh, numerous people have been killed at this school. Maybe my daughter should come home. Nope. No, classes will continue.
Well, they were bad girls. Don't forget. Maybe they didn't have
Yeah.
families. There was nobody looking out for them. I don't remember any of the girls
No.
talking about going home or anything. Like there wasn't anybody
One of
that
the
wanted
girls
them
said
to
her
be there.
dad was a famous actor.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
okay.
sorry. That's Phenomena.
I saw where you were going there the minute I
Yeah,
responded.
exactly. That's my favorite scene in that movie where her roommate talks about how much she wants to fuck her dad. And she's like, yeah, great. Okay. I get it. Or she's like, he's so handsome. Don't you think he's handsome? She's like, he's my dad. But
Do you think
enjoyable.
this?
I like it.
Yeah, something made me think about it when they played it with Sunswept. They were
Yeah.
sort of playing up. They used the tagline I noticed in that ad we looked at, "Beauties" at the as a enslaved by his monstrous desire or something. So, do you think this had a sex angle to it? Like, was this? It didn't really go very far in the sex
I
department.
think in the same way that Ballerina and the Vampire does, like it's very early in Italian horror, right? Because I Vampiri is like 1951. So this is only like 9 years later. If you think about it, within like God, 6 years, 7 years, there's outright nudity and the movies really push stuff. I think this was as far as they were going. Like it doesn't push it as much as like Ballerina and the Vampire, Playgirls and the Vampire. Like, it doesn't push it that far. But I think there is some prurient interest. These are bad girls. They're, you know,
There's titillation, definitely.
yeah.
There's the whole
It
Lolita
were
angle.
were this made 10 years later, there would be lesbian scenes and it would be closer to, you know, what we experience of, you know, it would be a lot closer to What Have You Done to Solange than this movie.
I'm not really sure how old the girls are supposed to be in this movie. Are they underage or are they like 20?
I would think that they're like 17 or 18. Like they're not yet of legal age, is what I thought, but they are 20-something teenagers.
I
You know what I
never
mean?
know when a movie orphanage or school for girls or boys or whatever, like how old the kids are because they all look really super old, like Blood and Lace.
Yeah.
But they look like they were 26 years old and still stuck in an orphanage somewhere. Like, eventually,
Well,
aren't you your own person and you can leave?
no, you can get to be one forever. You will stay there forever
Yikes!
if you want to. Or like Slaughter High Carolyn Monroe can be 32 years old and in high school
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
and have a British accent, even though it's set in America.
Yeah, wasn't it set in like Ohio or somewhere?
Yeah, yeah. I'm nothing against Carolyn Monroe. I mean, she's more attractive than anybody else that's going to be in it.
Yeah, we're not knocking it.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know when the first backlit 90 was on screen. I saw Frank asked. I would say, it's definitely in the early 60s. That's when these movies are king, especially post Black Sunday, Black Sabbath. Like these movies, like the Italian Gothic tradition really kicks in. I
Yeah,
Vampiri is like a really good one. It also doesn't have a vampire in it. Really, it's about a woman using parts of girls to stay young, but it's really good. Bava finished it out. Um, a couple scenes, but there's some really cool stuff in that movie too. But
yeah, the
yeah,
Italians definitely honed it,
yeah,
if not
definitely,
flat out invented it.
yeah. And it's funny because I'm reading the last of Roberto Curti's 3 books on Italian Gothics, and he's like, what doesn't work as well is by the '80s, the Italian movies started reflecting American films. So when girls would show up in the movies, they would be wearing tennis shoes and sweatsuits and jeans. Like they would be dressed like Americans instead of being Italian. And he's like, I don't want to be sexist, but I really miss the the white nightgowns and the candelabras. Like it doesn't have the same effect when it's like everybody kind of men and women are both wearing the same clothes and it's kind of unisex. It takes away some of the romance of it. Jury's out, but I thought that was an interesting take. But he's also comparing like TV movies and straight to video stuff to some of these movies that had really nice budgets. Not that this had a great budget, but some of them did.
Well, yeah, I mean, was this a low budget movie?
Mm, it's a decent budget, but it's not like you know,
It's
like
not
the
stellar.
house. No, like the Houses series that Lenzi and Fulci did for TV. Those are like super low budget. They had like I think 2 weeks to shoot each of those, and there's some back then that were even lower as more people were working just in video instead of movies getting out into theaters or coming to other countries. So some of those are dismal budgets. But you know, I think like, especially Boba never had huge budgets by comparison to like, you know, uh an American horror movie. But at this point, up until what? I'd say The Exorcist horror movies were ghettoized, so they weren't big budget movies. Or even up into Jaws. They weren't blockbusters, so they didn't get these huge budgets and they had to be inventive with the effects that they had.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of this as a cheap looking movie. I mean,
No.
it doesn't have.
Well, from the title, you totally expect I Was a Teenage Werewolf looking movie.
Yeah, I mean,
And it
and
looks
the AIP movies, they had their own look to them too, but it was very static and TV movie-ish. I think,
yeah,
like they're not particularly beautiful films.
yeah. You can definitely tell the difference when you're getting like a Corman one or a Bava one to the other AIP ones. To like I'm using that example of Werewolf again. Like they're competently made movies, but no one's trying to make artwork in them or like do anything more than just tell the story.
Well, that's definitely how it was sold, though, in the
Yeah.
United States. So people went into it. I mean, I think this is generally considered a bad movie by a lot
Yeah.
of people. So
I disagree, and I think people think of Adam Age Vampires one too, and I don't think that either one are. I think that we wouldn't
no,
have picked them for the first movie of the year if we thought these were bad movies.
Well, yes, we would have.
Yeah. In our world, the movies that we like, hey, look, Jess Franco is my number one director on Letterboxd, so don't trust anything I say.
There are different rules for this program.
Yeah.
Well,
probably followed closely behind by Matei. Yeah, so the rules are different. Oh. You want to see what came in the mail this week, Bill?
I would love to.
Well, this is over a couple weeks. This is since Christmas. It's pretty exciting. It's a big stack of stuff. Oh, let's see. We got the sequel to Mexican Barbero. If anyone saw it, it's an anthology of Mexican directors. This is the new one. And,
that looks beautiful.
Unearthed Films, who are putting out a lot of cool stuff. This is from Radiance. It's Sting of Death, but not the Florida movie. A different one.
Can you flip the mirror thing on your camera? Because all the titles are backwards.
Oh, so let me see here. How do we do that?
It's in the little wheel.
Yeah, I got it.
There we go.
Okay. All right. These don't look fancy, but these are a big deal to me because this is how Arrow sends stuff. But this is the Coffin Joe box set, which holy shit, it's awesome. The artwork's great, but I don't get the artwork. I just get these. But I really, really love this whole set, and it actually has one Coffin Joe movie I have not seen before. So very excited about that. There's so many extras on it too, and actually there is what do you call it? Commentary tracks by Coffin Joe on all of them, translated with subtitles. So that's super exciting for me. I'll be rewatching those. This is the fourth movie that's out from Kino Cult. It's Clive Barker's Underworld, which is the first movie that he made before Hellraiser, and it's pretty interesting. A little strange. Ingrid Pitt's in it. I mean, that's reason enough to see it, right?
Wow, when was that made?
I want to say 1985. So really nice packaging. Kino Cult stuff's cool. Got from Arrow, we got Murphy's War, and then Arrow is putting out Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer, which I'm super excited about. Can't wait to watch.
I love Destroyer.
Yeah, I love Destroyer. I love both of them. We got from Radiance, Goodbye and Amen. And then these ones all have cases. This is from our friends at Well Go USA. This is a new movie called Wolfpack. You can buy all of their products at Walmart. They have them on shelf just because Best Buy doesn't carry stuff anymore. You can still get now. Walmart also has steel boxes too, so that's a good place to go. Not selling Walmart, but if you're looking for physical media, keep buying it where they sell it. And the Flying Swordsman, another film, really nice packaging from Well Go USA. And the last one comes from Synapse, and it is the remake of Blood Feast, which is out on 4K. Just got this 2 or 3 days ago.
Wow.
I have not seen it. So, yeah. So excited to see that. That's what's came in for the last couple weeks, along with the Black Room and those 2 Halloween movies I showed. And hopefully my new stuff will be in from Vinegar Syndrome. The extras on the Coffin Joe set, almost a lot of them are subtitled, especially the commentary tracks are subtitled, which is pretty cool. There's also the fan-made Coffin Joe movie that I've put on the site before with him doing speed dating. It's the guy who played the younger version of him in the last film shot it, and it's basically him in character going on dates with women, trying to find the perfect woman. It's pretty awesome. So very excited.
Here's some interesting ads that I've been running on the pages lately. Ooh. Look at this. This reminds me of It Came from the Grave. That reissue of Death Dream.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's a really beautiful ad.
It's cut out of something else, but I can't. It might be Funeral Home.
Yeah. I like bonus sexy romp. After you get through this movie where dude's dick gets cut off, let's have a sexy romp.
Yeah, I don't understand. I hope they showed Gas Pump Girls first.
Yeah. It would be sobering otherwise. Oh, Bill, I'm so excited about this.
Miss Leslie's Dolls.
Did you watch it yet?
No, you didn't send it to me, did you?
I sent it to you. Yeah, I
You
sent it to you.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, I sent you an email with it. I'll send it again if you didn't get it. Let me know.
Well, yeah, I've
Is
been
this
itching to
posted?
watch it.
It's been posted on my what do you call it? Google
Yeah.
Drive.
Okay.
I mean,
Let's
I'm
not
gonna
say
double
too
check now.
much live over the air.
I mean, nobody owns the rights to it.
Okay, that's good. Didn't it come out on Blu-ray though?
It came out in Blu-ray in the UK. It's never come out here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say this, I'm just joke. It's all a joke. I would totally not send Bill
Right.
a bootleg copy of a movie. Why would I?
We
Why
wouldn't
would I
do
ever
anything
do
like
that?
that.
Why would we do that?
But
We
anyway,
don't share movies. You wouldn't steal a car. This is where that old 80s, that 90s video that was on every movie you rented, where it
right.
comes up. This is where that comes up for us. And it's like, oh man, Bill and I wouldn't steal a movie. Anyway, I love this movie, but I'm so excited for you to watch it because I think it's gonna be one of those movies that you never knew you needed to see, but you totally wanted to see.
Yeah. I've read other things about it, so I know I'm gonna love it. And I don't know what's been
Yeah,
taking me so long to watch it. And thank you for
yeah,
running that review I wrote of this movie, because I was going to post it on my blog and then I realized I hadn't written on my blog since last December and I talked about this
yeah.
movie. So I said,
Oh, I'm honored anytime you want to write anything.
anyway, Night of the Dark Full Moon, aka Silent Night, Bloody Night.
Yeah. I
Eventually,
love how many titles there are for that movie.
eventually reissued in 1981, unbelievably so, as Death House.
By Canon.
Yes, in the
Yeah.
year of the slasher.
I'm still mind blown by that because Canon didn't release that many horror movies.
So why they pulled
Yeah.
this out, I don't know.
It is a mystery. A delicious one, is it not?
It definitely is living deliciously.
Oh.
Here's a panel of wonderfulness. I mean, so much to choose from. And this is only 4 drive-ins. There are other ads with even more movies from this cluster of drive-ins in the Fort Lauderdale area.
Yeah.
But these look better on social media, so I choose the smaller ones.
I'm trying to think which one Used Cars and Stir Crazy is pretty awesome, but Born is that the Born Losers, the Billy Jack movie that's playing with it?
Isn't it a biker movie? Born
Yeah, that's the
Losers.
one with Billy Jack. Yeah, wow, that movie would have been about 7 or 8 years old there.
But what
okay.
better movie to show with Night Riders?
Yeah. Yeah. Blood Beach and Beyond Evil is pretty nice.
John Saxon in both of them.
Yeah.
Isn't he in Beyond Evil with Linda Day George?
Yeah. Or is it? It's not Richard Crenna, is it?
No, it's John Saxon.
Yeah. I really like Night Riders, so I would go see that probably. Beyond Evil is John Saxon, Linda Day George, former wrestler Mario Milano. Yeah. Stir Crazy and Used Cars would be fun, but Airplane and American Gigolo is a weird double feature.
I don't know whether it was just me, but I was really opinionated when I was younger. So there were a lot of these movies that I probably would have never even bothered to go see theatrically. But looking back on it now, it's like, God, we didn't know how good we had it with all this good
What would
shit.
you have picked when you were young? You would have picked Blood Beach?
Blood Beach, naturally. That would have been the first one. And then I would have wanted to see Night Riders because of the George Romero connection.
Yeah. The Lakeshore had a lot of really good shows, but I've seen from you posting them.
Darren Kersey, be careful at Blood Beach. It's not what's in the water, it's what's before you get to it.
And you'll never see it either.
You can start walking or running towards the water, but you'll never reach it. Oh, wait. This is the one I wanted to go to. Okay. So this one's been coming up lately at the Apache Drive-In in Tucson, Arizona. And this is from 1963. And at the end of 62, there was another screening of this movie, Horror Maniacs, as it's printed here, but the actual title was Horror Maniacs.
What
and
is it?
Strangler's Morgue. These two movies, they were actually from the late 30s and the early 40s.
And Hate Ship.
Hate Ship is a very early talking picture, which I don't know why their obsession with, I don't know what their obsession was with Hate Ships, but it was reissued. Anyway, Horror Maniacs and Strangler's Morgue both starred Todd Slaughter.
Wow.
The original twirling mustached villain. So, and this image is not from Horror Maniacs, most likely. Even though I don't really know. Here's another 4 big horror hits. 2 of them being Live Fast, Die Young and Scotland Yard Inspector.
Wow. What a bargain.
Yeah, it's still a good night at the movies, right?
Yeah.
Who's complaining? Not me. What's going on with that skeleton?
I don't know. Someone drew it. Is that Rondo Hatton in the bottom right? It looks kind of like him.
Oh, that doesn't look like Rondo to me. It looks like the mummy from something or other, some kind of mummy, and then in the lower panel, I don't think that looks like Rondo Hatton. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe it's just a Scotland Yard inspector and I'm projecting. The skeleton, though, it looks like a dude with dreadlocks wearing a skeleton mask.
Like every heavy metalloid kid in my grade had that sketched on their notebook.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would have been drawing that in class and you'd be like, oh, God. Ooh.
Karloff
Thanks,
was king.
Chris said it looked like Richard Deacon as the devil from The Undead, which is probably right on.
So are you a fan of Fiend Without a Face?
I have not seen it.
Oh, wow.
I need to fix that.
I don't know. I thought everybody regarded it as a really scary movie, but I was looking up its reputation online, and apparently some people are under the misconception that Fiend Without a Face is not a good film. I would like to state for the record that you are all wrong if you think that.
Huh. I do like I do like the poster, so I will check it out.
It's kind of like one of the originators of that Night of the Living Dead standoff inside a boarded up house.
Ooh.
It's got a really knockout ending. There are just like a couple creepy parts early on. It's a little talky, but like the last 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, you're like apologizing for it to be talky.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's mostly talky, and then stuff starts to happen, and then the last 15 minutes are really kind of intense and scary. Definitely recommend it. But as a kid, it was much scarier because they made, the monsters in it make scary noises, and it's kind of like got this doomy ass quality to it. So I feel you'll dig it.
I will check it out. I am excited for next week. Again, remember next week we got Unhinged, Amityville 2, The Possession, and then
it's a French film.
That'll be the French film. I'm super excited for those, and for for everybody to watch those with us this week on my site, all Jalo all week. And Tuesday there'll be a special podcast of 3 Jalo films. And hey, Leaf, I just saw you show up in chat. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Oh, hey, Leaf. You can see the Dawn of the Dead poster you sent me hanging right over my head.
Yeah. Very nice. I'm looking for space for mine now, in the many posters in the basement. We have a bunch of new stuff going up.
You and I both. I've got to
Yeah.
rotate some of my posters because you just got me that fabulous new one as well.
I'm excited to see it up there.
I know. The pressure's on. I will
is.
hang it up.
Yeah. And I'm excited to rewatch The Black Room, which I got. So pretty fired up about that. That'll be fun.
I really dug it. I mean, it was especially great watching it now that it's all fixed up.
Yeah.
But it was just as good in the shitty VHS print that we had. It's really not augmented all that much.
Sometimes I like a shitty print. I've talked about it before, but like City of the Living Dead, the first time I saw it was a really beat up VHS print, and it made the effects look better, and it made the film seem more dangerous and lunatic to be like a battered version of it versus the super clean one that I have now. So I really, not that I dislike the super clean one, but sometimes it's neat to have that as your experience, especially if you grew up in the video store era, that you're like, yeah, like that's a lot of times I did rent stuff, and any of the scenes with nudity have tons of tracking problems.
Yeah, especially when movies were shown on TV as a kid. From reading Fangoria, I was obsessed with the idea that censors would come and cut out all the good parts of the movie. So when you'd see it on TV, especially, I knew it was edited. So there was kind of like this hunger that we had, if you knew stuff was missing, to see the stuff that they cut out of it. And now that we can do that, you can watch it on like these super high res Blu-rays. A lot of times, and all the parts that they cut out are put back into it. But maybe that excitement isn't there as much when it's like that much in focus and looking beautiful and everything. That thrill that you had the first time you saw it was still there, with or without the footage.
Yeah, exactly.
The prints of older movies on TV look like shit anyway.
Yeah. There's Gold Ninja I talked about a while ago. They've been putting out they have a print of White Zombie that is literally a 35 millimeter beat up print that they just ran and captured a Blu-ray of. And that's what's on it. It's a beat up version of the print. It has a clean version and a beat up one. It's really neat.
Wow, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm also a fan of a lot of the new era stuff has been having the Super 8 cut down versions put on them too, which is pretty neat. Like, the 5 to 7 minute long version.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, there are a lot of digest Super 8s out there, and I would love to see that start happening more on Blu-ray releases, but I guess it all
It's
depends
neat when it happens because it's like a feature that I'd love I had Star Wars as a kid, and I'd love to have that. You know what I mean? Just is that because I remember we would beg my dad to set up the screen. Now that I'm older, I realize how much work goes into setting up the screen and getting it on and spooling it and everything. But we would beg and beg and beg my dad. So I think that was the really cool thing when VHS came out. I was like, we no longer had to beg my dad for stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had the control of stuff.
Well, which Super 8 Star Wars did you have? I know we've had this discussion on the program before, but I don't remember.
Ours had like X-Wings on the cover. I remember it had like a Starfield and X-Wings on the cover.
How long was it? I mean,
oh boy, that's a good question.
Was it one reel or two?
Just one reel.
Oh, wow. So it was maybe like 12, 13 minutes.
Yeah, I remember the scenes. I definitely remember being in it because I was always fascinated as a kid by how the land speeder looked like it was floating. You know what I mean? Whenever they were going to get in it, so it had them riding the land speeder and coming up to the cantina, and then maybe just like a 15-second blast through the cantina, like hardly anything. The majority of stuff in it was the Death Star battle at the end.
Oh, yeah. See, the version I had was different. The majority of the footage on mine was the fight that they have with the Millennium Falcon and the
Mm.
the little things that I
Yeah.
forget their names. But that was like the dramatic conclusion of the one. But it had
Yeah.
scenes of Ben Kenobi telling Luke about his heritage, stuff like that.
It had the "Help Me, Obi-Wan" thing, her leaving the message on R2 too, so I remember that because it's funny when you think about it, like, no matter how many times you saw it as a kid, you were a little kid, your perception of reality is a lot different than it is as an adult. So, getting to have something you owned, even if it was only 20% of the movie, maybe at the most 10% of the movie, and
Yeah.
being able to watch it again and again was really cool. Like, because otherwise, you weren't gonna see Star Wars again until maybe they would bring it out again that summer and do a reissue, but you know what I mean? You just had to wait.
You could get
That's
the
what's ama
entire movie on Super 8 as well.
Oh oh, could you? I
Yeah,
didn't
there
know
were
that.
I mean, I don't know if Star Wars did it, but I know that you could get the entire movie for a lot of things on Super 8 millimeter and
Wow.
Super 8. You had to order it, and I don't know. I
We
mean, I wasn't an adult at the time, so I wasn't really adept at finding stuff
we had a
like that.
lot of Disney cartoons too, obviously. That was and it was really whatever Kmart had. You know what I mean? That's what we had that
Yeah,
they
I
were
remember the
selling.
displays at Kmart. That's what really made me want a movie projector, 'cause they had, like, all these
Yeah.
old Universal reels and everything.
I just one of the episodes of the show is, A Visit to Santa, which is a movie made in McKeesport. It's a Christmas parade, and it was made for 8 and 16 millimeter for schools. And basically, they sold those to schools so that they would show them as part of their Christmas, what do you call it, assemblies. And it's pretty funny because it's a very strange movie. I can't imagine kids having to see it. My favorite part of it is at the end, Santa stops the kids before they leave and tells them that Jesus is the reason for the season. That way, all the Catholic schools in Pittsburgh would buy the movie too, not just the not just the regular schools.
I think all my Super 8s turned pink, Matt, because I didn't store them properly. But even if
Did
you
you get vinegar
do,
syndrome?
yeah, they have bad vinegar syndrome. I think they get really brittle as well. So probably, I mean, I haven't run any of that stuff through a projector in years. I have Squirm on Super 8. Frankenstein meets the Space Monster. I have a
Oh
Super 8
wow,
reel with the Screaming Skull. Amazing
wow.
War of the Colossal Beast. That
What?
that stupid Dracula movie, Return of Dracula, where it's not really
Oh
Dracula in it.
yeah.
Couple other things, Woody Woodpecker cartoons and stuff like that, and that
Don't you
Star
wish you
Wars.
could go back to that Kmart in your mind and go through those movies to see what else was there?
I've had dreams of that. I did look through that stuff. They
Oh,
had like the original Dracula, the original Frankenstein, and there were different titles as well for these films. Like the Monster Rally movies like House of Frankenstein and House of
mhm.
Dracula. There's a Super 8 digest version of House of Dracula that's just the Dracula story. It's only the
Oh wow.
Dracula scenes in it. It's called Doom of Dracula.
Oh, I love that.
And then there's another one called The Wolfman's Cure, and it's
I
only the
remember seeing that
Wolfman
as a kid,
scenes.
and I always wondered what it was.
It's all the Wolfman scenes from House of Dracula.
Oh, that's awesome. Mike
Fantastic.
says
And
that there's a Tintuera on Super 8. I can't imagine anything I wanna learn
it's a
unless I
dream.
found out there was a Demonoid Super 8, and then I'd be like, "Well, yeah, I would love that." As someone that's bought Demonoid more than once already.
Leaf put his Super 8 Star Wars to good use.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I'm shocked that nobody's bootlegged a bunch of those onto DVD. You know what I mean? Like, just taking them and run them and selling them at conventions because I
I
would
mean, it sounds like a
definitely
good idea.
I mean, I've already said that I potentially send you stuff in the mail, so I'm going to jail. The FBI, they're all waiting outside. I'm just saying it would be a good idea. I'm not saying that I'm doing it.
Right.
Right?
We don't do things like that.
Yeah. No, we're squeaky clean. Did you watch any new movies over the break, Bill, that you got into? Anything new that you saw that?
Well, there was that Girl in Room 2A.
Yeah.
There was something else that I watched too, and I can't remember what it is now. I've been trying to reach back into the vast nether regions of 2 weeks ago. It just seems like a blur for me. Everything like
Yeah.
between like when we stopped doing the show and now that we did the show, there were holidays in there and they all went by so quickly in just like a couple of days.
Yeah. They seem like they took. Did you see Godzilla -1? Chris said he saw that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
Did you
thought we
like that?
talked about that on the last show.
Yeah, we might have. Yeah. I didn't get to
Yeah.
see it yet.
Oh, I loved it. It was
Mm.
amazing. It was all kinds of good. And you start hearing things like, "Oh yeah, this movie's so good." This is one you can really believe because it's just
Oh, that's good.
one of the best movies I've seen period in many, many years.
Awesome.
Highly
Yeah, I definitely
recommended.
can't wait to see it. Yeah, I'm
And
looking
it's a
forward
good
to seeing it.
Godzilla movie. Godzilla's scary in it, which
I want to see
I've never
Poor
seen a
Things really
Godzilla.
bad.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see a scary Godzilla, so I'm excited about that. I saw the Godzilla toys for the next Godzilla and King Kong movie that's coming out, the American ones, but
David.
I like David's comment. Yeah, the Super 8 of Gates of Hell is just fools you close up zoom ins on people's eyes. I'd watch that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe you should edit it down into your own Super 8 cuts.
Yeah, I will for my own personal collection, and I'll just run it all the time.
I'm gonna edit a Super 8 cut of Tintorera, like Mike Justice said it. Mike Justice, maybe I'll edit a Super 8 cut of Year of the Silken Beaver.
Oh man,
I'll
I would
take your
love that.
25-minute movie and edit it down to 11.
And just the parts you like too. Like you'll have like a couple characters might not make it.
I like all of it. I watch that movie all the time. My favorite part, of course, is when the two women in the car go through Taco Bell's drive-through, and they're like furious with the guy behind the counter for some reason, but it feels like there's big pieces of the whole conversation that we didn't see. And then they're driving away and they get hit by a bus.
Oh man. I'm excited that Mike's posting this stuff. I want to see more of it.
Yeah, me too. He's got something new up his sleeve. I won't spoil anything, Mike Justice.
Ooh.
At least I think he did. I don't want to like force you into a creative project, Mike.
Yeah. Well, we made it through another episode. The first one of the year. I'm so excited that everybody was here. And I look forward to this, honestly, since we finished the last one. So, Bill, I want to thank you as always for all the work that you do putting us together. And love the new art. And it looks gorgeous.
Good. I got to do some stuff I've been wanting to do for many, many months, and I didn't have the time. So I just kind of like finally got it all out. I got some new countdown stuff. Did you see my zombies at the drive-in?
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
So
I saw that you have you did some stuff for Facets too, for the Black Christmas and was it Black Christmas and Curtain?
Yeah, it was a screening where Lynn Griffin was actually there.
Oh.
That they were doing that the last time we were on the air. It was December 2nd.
Oh,
and
wow.
It went well. John McDevitt reported back and said, of course, that Lynn was a total sweetheart. And I'm going to be doing another one of those for Demons and Demons 2.
Ooh.
Double the
Ooh.
Demons. And that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you're in the Chicago area, I think it's the 19th.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, with Music Box is showing Torso and Strange Vice in the same night, and Sergio Martino's there. What And even crazier, Cemetery Man's playing in Pittsburgh for a week. How does this happen? Downtown for like over a week. So I may be going to that. I think you kind of got to go to that. When else is that? Well, if we go, Bill, we'll be the only two people in the theater, so we can each take a row and just lounge
Just
out.
spread out, Messiah of Evil style.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'll turn around and the whole theater's full. Motherfucker. This is how it happens. Call me Joy Bang.
I love when she walks in and there's just two people. There's that one woman knitting. She looks over and there's this, it looks like a giant theater. Remember the way theaters used to look? They were almost like 747s.
Yeah. It's not going to be, Paul, it's not going to be packed. They haven't advertised it. It was on Facebook. No one sees that. No one goes downtown for anything. I hope it's packed. I hope that you're right and I'm wrong. But I really don't see a lot of people going to that, especially for 9 days. I don't know. But hey, I'm glad that they're doing it. I hope that every one of them does sell out. That would be awesome. Because I love more movies to play there. I know they had Stunt Rock last year, and I found out about it 2 days after. So,
yeah, that's the weird thing about getting I don't really understand the licensing for projecting films and charging admission to go see them. But one of the stipulations seems to be that you can't actually promote it anywhere, which is really weird.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
What are the lot of places where it's being promoted? Because I saw it on Facebook. I didn't see it in City Paper. It hasn't been on any TV stuff, so I'll look for it. I'd like to see it.
Look what Mike Justice sent me.
Aw.
That's the cover of the Tintorera Super 8.
Wow.
What is happening in the lower right there?
I don't know. Love it.
That looks like there's some beach lovemaking going on there, covered in mud.
Yeah, starting early.
I don't know. They were into some kinky shit, I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, I see the storm clouds are gathering.
That's right. So next weekend, make sure you come and hang out with us again on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. Next Saturday, 8 p.m., we're going to have Joe Zasso and what's our other guest's name? We just found out about it tonight.
Brian Norton.
Brian Norton.
Well,
author of the Amityville, a book about the Amityville. Is it about all the Amityville movies?
Yeah. Well, the first two mostly. A lot on the second one, but yeah, and Joe helped edit it, so I'm really excited to hear about it. And
fantastic.
It comes out in March. It has been delayed a couple times, but they said it's definitely coming out in March. And Joe will be talking about his new set from TerrorVision that's coming out, which is pretty exciting.
All right, so come hang out with us next Saturday night. Till then, have a great week, and we'll see you. Be back. We missed you. Bye.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.